US President Donald Trump has vowed to prevent Israel from annexing the West Bank, and this as he intensifies efforts to end the Gaza war.
While Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is visiting the United States, now Netanyahu will address the United Nations on Friday and later meet Trump in Washington.
And this as Israeli ministers muse of annexing the West Bank in response to the recognition of a Palestinian state by France, UK and several other Western powers.
But Trump, who offered crucial support to Netanyahu amid mounting global pressure, has made clear that he would not back the annexation.
Right. Trump also voiced optimism about ending the war, echoing the confidence expressed a day earlier on the sidelines of the UN envoy Steve Witkoff. He said they are pretty close to having a deal.
We're getting pretty close to having a deal on Gaza and maybe even peace, which would be the first time in about, what, 2,000 years, I think? In the region, I'd say the first in, Steve, what would you say, first in 2,000 years or maybe 1,000?
2 millennium.
It's a long time.
Well, without mentioning Trump, a lawmaker from the far-right religious Zionism party has called for Israel to go ahead with the annexation of the West Bank before the next elections are held, and this in defiance of the American leader.
On social media platform X, MK Zuvi Sukkot said that the Jewish people's sovereignty over the Jewish homeland does not depend on any external source, even as loving and friendly as can be, calling European countries' recognition of Palestinian state insane. He further stressed that Israel must apply sovereignty over the West Bank already.
Now, Trump met with the leaders of key Arab and Muslim nations who warned him of consequences in Israel if Israel moved ahead. Now, Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, said that Trump understands the risks and dangers of annexation in the West Bank.
I feel confident that President Trump understood the position of the Arab and Muslim countries, and I think the President in the US understands very well the risks and dangers of annexation in the West Bank.
The risk of West Bank annexation remains even as air and ground attacks persist in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli military said on Thursday that 700,000 Palestinians have fled the Gaza city in the north to the south of the Gaza Strip since late August.
The UN humanitarian agency, OHCA, said that 388,400 displacement movements have been recorded since mid-August, most from Gaza City. Remind you, the UN estimated at the end of the August that around 1 million people lived in the city and its surroundings, where it has declared famine.
Meanwhile, 4 global news services, including AP, Reuters and AFP, this week released a short movie advocating for access by international journalists in Gaza. The movie launched in New York at an event hosted by the Committee to Protect Journalists, CPJ, tied to the UN General Assembly's meeting of world leaders this week. Well, the video showed moving images from various conflicts going back to World War II. As you can see on the screens right now, and it further highlighted the impact of the work of photojournalists who covered major moments in history in Rwanda, Vietnam, Ethiopia and the current war in Gaza. C's David Dembleby said that international journalists must now be allowed into Gaza to share the burden with Palestinian reporters there. And to discuss more, we're now being joined by Dr. Avner Cohen from Monetary. He is a professor of non-proliferation on terrorism studies at Middlebury Institute. Welcome to World DNA. First up, of course, your assessment of the statement coming out of the White House, where Trump has clearly said that he will not allow Netanyahu to annex the West Bank. And this comes before Trump-Bibi meet on Monday. How do you see things panning out from here?
Well, I think it's very much set up the tone for that meeting. It's a preemption of the meeting, and essentially, for a long time, after the president has been hesitant to say in a strong and clear language, unambiguous language, Now he said that he's not going to allow Israel to annex the West Bank. And essentially, he limits the Israeli response to the act of recognition. This is a major setback to Netanyahu. It was expected, maybe not in that kind of strong way before the meeting, but it provides a certain sense of stability towards some kind of settlements. It's obviously a way to keep the Abraham Accord, which otherwise would have been under threat had Israel been annexed. And also it may have been even provide a cover to Netanyahu, who already understood himself, even though he is in that kind of extreme right-wing coalition, that there are limits to what he can do, and he understood already by himself that he cannot do that. But what the president provides him is a certain kind of cover from the outside. Look, the president who is providing Israel essentially all his ammunition, the Israeli army cannot perform without the direct supply from the United States. And the United States said very, very clearly they would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank.
Right, Dr. Cohen, and having said that, it is important to take note of this significant statement, especially given Trump's previous stance on Israel and Palestine. But we know that President Donald Trump is not averse to taking U-turns, and they happen quite often. How much do you think is the current statement subject to change given the political pressures that may emerge going forward?
Well, I think, and for many Israelis at the center and the left who are sick and tired of this war, and I think there is increasing number of Israelis who are sick and tired of this futile war, they wanted the United States to act, and the United States is the only power who can have some kind of influence, actually direct influence, on Prime Minister Netanyahu. So the question is why he acts that late, why he hasn't done it months before. Obviously, the context right now, given the recognition by so many nations, including new nations, important new nations, including the UK, France, Australia, situation that put a strong pressure on the Netanyahu right-wing government. They looked for some kind of steps to respond, and President Trump cut off some of their options, some of the extreme options that they thought about responding to.
Of course, thank you so much, Dr. Cohen, for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your valuable perspective with us.